The other day, I watched Ever After for the first time. I am a millennial, born in 1991, and I can't believe it is the first time I've ever seen it. I'd always seen little clips here and there, the iconic Just Breathe scene where she's got the wings and the dress and the sparkles, but somehow I'd just never seen it, so I thought it was about time to watch it. The one thing I noticed was that there was actually no magic in it at all. It's set as a retelling of Cinderella, talking to the descendant of Danielle, who is talking to the brothers Grimm, and she wanted to set the record straight as to what actually happened. Most Cinderella stories and fairy tales in general have some sort of magic system, and we all know that in Cinderella it's the fairy godmother, and she has that infamous transformation scene where she saves her from the ruined dress and magically changes her into a beautiful princess. And the thing is that we're so used to seeing that process, that savior come in and fix all the issues, that when it actually doesn't happen in a fairy tale retelling, it's quite jarring. But the funny thing is, in Ever After, magic isn't magic at all. It's actually a character, and that character is based on a real person. That character is a little sweet old man with a genius brain, Leonardo da Vinci. Da Vinci doesn't come along and magically save Danielle. There's no typical transformation, he doesn't reward her in any way, and there's no sort of spectacle to it. All he does is he removes the hinge pin from the door that she's being kept behind in a dungeon under her stepmother's house. But the thing is that he trusts her intelligence, her perception, her ability to think for herself and make the right decision. He doesn't change her life for her, he just gives her the agency to act and make her own choices. And the interesting thing about that whole process is that it's actually very Renaissance in spirit. There was a growing belief at the time that learning and curiosity actually really mattered. I think a lot of people relied on the church system and the hierarchy system of classes to understand their place in the world at the time and what their purpose was in life. But the way Da Vinci thought, the fact that he was essentially a nobody where he grew up, he extrapolated himself from obscurity and was able to use his mind to progress in life. So it was about the concept that people weren't actually at the mercy of fate or destiny or blind faith. And this concept of destiny and fate is just so inherent in fairy tales that it's actually quite jarring to watch a fairy tale that doesn't have that as an integral part of the story. And even the iconic wings that Da Vinci creates for Danielle, for that scene that she goes to the ball in, those wings are so symbolic. Their physicality is very similar to his designs, just in the essence of how he designed his flying machines. So they represent invention and thought and original thinking and the possibility of flight, which at that time was obviously not a concept. In a symbolic way, it's about thinking outside of your circumstances. Problem is they're also fragile because it's such a new concept in a philosophical way, but they're also fragile when you look at the physicality of the wings. They've got this beautiful, thin, delicate silk almost that's been stretched across this kind of framework of the wing. They're fragile, they're new, they're still in their infancy. And that's very symbolic of Danielle and how she feels in her power, that she's just kind of realized and is now acting on. It's fragile, it's new. So at the ball, when her stepmother actually rips her wings off, it's deliberate. It's like tearing the wings off a butterfly. And not necessarily because flight is dangerous, but because flight represents the possibility of escape from one's position in society. By destroying them in such a public way, the stepmother isn't just rejecting invention, she's trying to keep something caged. So Danielle runs home afterwards, she's humiliated, she's been completely ripped to shreds, emotionally and now symbolically and physically by the rain and her stepmother. As she cries on the doorstep, the fabric of the wings is melting and shredding apart, which is kind of so symbolic of that new confidence that she just kind of grasped onto and was trying to utilized and it's just been ripped away from her and torn to shreds. What remains is the concept of believing in something or believing in yourself before the world is ready to protect you. It's her realization that she has to protect herself and that no one is going to come and save her, which is such an antithesis of typical fairy tales, right? The prince is meant to save her and they live happily ever after. And we see that towards the end of the movie where she actually extricates herself from a dire situation, which is, you know, the evil bald dude at the end trying to like make her his wife essentially. She gets herself out of that situation, and though yes, Prince Henry is waiting there ready to save a damsel in distress, she actually doesn't need his help. And so even though I never watched this movie as a child, I never grew up with it, the stark contrast that this feels like to traditional fairy tales is so obvious. And maybe that's why this film has stood the test of time. Maybe that's why everyone's recommended it to me, because it is so different and it really feels so much more human and realistic than your typical kind of Disney fairy tales. Danielle isn't saved by wishing and hoping and fantasizing about this life. She is saved by her own thinking, her own determination, her own belief in herself, inevitably trusting in her own worth. So Ever After isn't asking you to wish and hope, it's asking you to think and act, which is really profound. There's also one scene in the movie where she's wearing this beautiful dress. I mean, she's wearing so many beautiful dresses, but it's got this kind of voluminous sleeve, which was very common for that time in history. And it made me think straight away of my Freya sewing pattern. So if you want to try out something similar, I've linked my pattern down below. Thanks for watching my video and stay tuned for more.